From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this edition of For the People on a Friday. It's June the 30th, 2017, and some of you are taking off and going to enjoy the holiday. Some of you trying to find some fireworks. We still have a few days to the 4th to get ready, but a lot of people are hitting the highways and getting on planes and taking vacations and just unwinding a little bit and kind of enjoying some of the summer, and that's a absolutely beautiful thing to do. And you got to relax sometimes, you know. You got to find some time to take care of you, and that's a beautiful thing when you can do that. Now, the Trump administration trying to make this travel ban really work for everybody, and he says, I do. That's Donald Trump. He says, I do. He says, I do, to adding fiancés to the travel ban exceptions, okay? Because there's people, obviously, that, are engaged and they're the fiancé, so they can get in, they can come in, it's okay. The guidelines are pretty much sent to U.S. embassies and consulates, so they pretty much know what the deal is. The only thought that came to my mind really about the fiancé thing is kind of like the refugee issue. Is, you know where I'm going on this one, don't you? You're miles ahead. You guys are so smart. It's just, she's my fiance, he's my fiance, and they kind of team ISIS. Not all of them, but you got to be suspicious. So I guess they're just going to look at the records and look at them and kind of just try to put the pieces together. And then, you ever watch that show, Lie to Me? It's this guy's like a behavioral analysis kind of guy. It's brilliant, but he can read people. If you're lying, he knows it. He just can tell the way that your hands move, your eyes blink, your movements of your lips. I mean, it's brilliant. This guy is awesome. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, it's available on Netflix. If you have Netflix, great program. But I'm thinking you're going to have people like that, and maybe they do already, I don't know. That work for these folks with the NSA and TSA and with the FBI and all that, but to have folks there to just kind of see when they're asking them these questions to kind of monitor, folks that might try to use that to get in, weasel themselves in. Oh, yeah, we're getting married and planning a massive attack on the country, too. I mean, it's just, to me, it just feels like a vulnerability, but, geez, you can't say that nobody's allowed into the country because not everybody's bad. It's a really tough job when you're trying to just do a job that really is just there for your safety. And if anybody's listening that might be of a Muslim persuasion, you're in fact a Muslim coming from a Muslim country and you're listening to this broadcast, we don't hate Muslims. We actually love that you love this country. We hope that you'll fall in love with this country and serve our country and give back and raise your family and enjoy all the fruits of living in America. It's those that corrupt Islam. It's for those that abuse it, that have gotten brainwashed and gotten radicalized and supercharged and charged up. And like some Christians through years past in our country and other places that just got bad information. Remember Jim Jones? I mean, that happened a long time ago. Well, how about the wacko more recently than the Jim Jones deal? The guy from Waco, Texas, David Koresh. But how you can deceive people. And, they were a form of Christianity. So people do bad things. But, ISIS obviously takes the cream of the, crop here. because they've killed how many Christians worldwide? I mean, it's genocide. And yeah, they kill Muslims as well, but they have killed hundreds of thousands of Christians. Do you understand that? Hundreds of thousands of Christians. I mean, it looks like that you're reading the Bible verbatim. It's interesting if you've ever picked up the Bible and have read it. But you hear the stuff that's going on right now, and then you read John the Revelator, Revelation, and you put the pieces together, and you say to me, we're here. We're here. And the destruction of America, and I've talked about that in the first hour, but I'm telling you, it really is eerie, very eerie. Is because it's no holds barred. I mean, nobody, especially the mainstream media, this stuff just wasn't allowed to sit there and just lie and make up things. And when people do it, they don't even blush anymore. It's like there's not even the blush factor anymore for anything. For a lot of stuff that's just seen on television anymore, people don't even, there's nothing left to the imagination at all. At all. And it's offensive. It really bothers me. And I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 1970, and I remember what television was there. And you talk about folks that were pretty upset about stuff that was seen on the television with Elvis Presley when he, did his moves on the Ed Sullivan Show. And how many parents were pretty upset because they thought that was also sexual? Well, geez, I'd take the King's Dance any day. Little pelvic thrusting. Compared to the stuff you see today, are you kidding me? That was innocent. But to see it from the 50s and right now in the year of 2017, come on, you got to admit, if you've spent a little time on the planet, and I'm sorry, but I'm not on board to say that's just how things evolve. And we've expanded our minds. Listen, we've been through the 60s. Not me, but our country has. Nothing great came out of that. Yeah, we got AIDS, somebody said. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I know some of you actually made it through, and you got a right mind, and you're okay, you did okay, and thank God if you survived the 60s. I think I saw a T-shirt not too long ago. Somebody had it on there. I survived the 60s, and it had the peace logo on it. It was kind of amusing. But I wanted to mention the travel ban, and for that, it's that they've really thought this is more tamed down than initially, and you don't really hear a lot of people, though the mainstream media likes to drudge up and say that this was the platform that Donald Trump ran on, is that he wanted a complete Muslim ban. Well, if you're banning all Muslims, I mean, you're going to be kicking out how many millions in our country? Donald Trump didn't understand where he came from, and, it's because he cares about our country. He doesn't want the extremists to come in, and it could be easy for them to do it. He just doesn't want another attack over here. He doesn't want more of our citizens to die over here, because these folks adamantly believe that we are the infidel and we deserve to pay. Now, the Iraqi prime minister, he's saying something that's very important here, and I want you to hear it. He says that this is the prime minister of Iraq, and he's declaring the end of ISIS, of the ISIS caliphate. But he says a long, long fight remains. You're going to still have this evil called ISIS, still. You're going to have the insurgencies, the same stuff that we encountered at the end of the war. It's going to be the same stuff that's going to be prevailing. The money has been cut out, largely speaking, but you're going to see more desperation. This was declared today at the end of the Islamic State's so-called caliphate in the Middle East, as forces push deeper into the Iraqi city of Mosul and the Syrian city of Raqqa. Iraqi forces began a bigger push into Mosul's old city, where ISIS militants were making their last stand by afternoon. They had reached a mosque and a site where ISIS leader Abu Barar al-Baghdadi made his lone public appearance back in 2014, declaring caliphate in Syria and Iraq. And the prime minister says we are seeing the end of the fake state. The liberation of Mosul proves that. Iraqi Prime Minister Haidar Abdui, he said on Twitter, "We will not relent. Our brave forces will bring victory." Amen to that. It's a big fight, a lot of lives lost. A lot of holy spots have been just demolished, mass graves. I mean, the amount of blood and sweat and toil and sacrifice that has gone into this war is just unbelievable. But folks, this evil still prevails. It's still in the hearts of man. And it's an evil that's been with us since the Garden of Eden, if you believe that. But there's an evil on the planet, if you don't even want to believe in the holy book and the good book, that I have to bring it up because it's part of me. But you see the evil that does exist in people's hearts. They'll do the unthinkable. And ISIS, they think they're justified. Everybody thinks they're justified in their own way. And they'll do it at any expense. They don't care. They just don't care anymore. And there is constant fighting. There's constant, this is a thing for humanity that's been wrestling with for the ages. And my only point, I guess, is my takeaway from all of this is maybe perhaps you need to find a little religion, bring you a little peace during these times, because personally, and talking with a lot of experts in Middle Eastern policy, or those that work in the State Department or our military, folks, we got some tough days ahead of us here. There's a revolution, folks, coming. I haven't talked about it a lot because a lot of people say, well, you're going to talk about this stuff. You're going to just try to scare people and just trying to, get press and media and all this. It's nothing to do with it. I fear and for this country, and I fear for its people that there's a revolution coming. The media is a lot like ISIS, in my opinion. They're a lot like it. Yeah, maybe they don't have the guns and anything, but they're just as deadly. They're just as deadly. But they have viewers of the millions, and these people, they believe Oprah Winfrey, or, on her network, if she hates Donald Trump, or Whoopi Goldberg, who spews off and talks junk about this president and gives nothing good coming out, gives him no credit for anything that he's done. But they wanted to go to all the parties, all of them did, in New York City or anywhere he was holding something. They wanted to be a part of it when he was there. They were over the Trump Tower when that thing opened. They loved it. All of them were. They were all gloating over the guy. But because they don't live in his world, because he's a Republican now, okay? Forget about that he's just a businessman. He wasn't a politician, though he's playing politics now. But forget about how we got in and all of this other stuff. And by the way, he did what none of them could. He had the money. He had the status of the star power. But he had something else. He had heart. He had heart. Donald Trump has a lot of heart. Yes, he's got a lot of tweets. Yes, he might have a big mouth. Well, he's got a little mouth, but he can open up his mouth and words come out. Maybe they don't fall as pretty and as nice, and they don't tickle your ears, make you feel all good inside, like Barack Obama could. Make you feel good about yourself. How you doing? We're going to have a party over here, okay? That's right. It's Barack Obama. I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you everything's going to be great. Because it is. Hope and change. Hope and change. Hope and change.